Let's see how we're doing. Aha! Hello!
Hello,
everyone.
live and direct.
We are live and direct. So welcome.
We've got both hemispheres covered, north and south.
Absolutely. So it's so nice to have you back again. Did you see something?
Sorry, I just disappeared. I tried to get the comments and so, there we go.
Yes. People are here already. So thank you so much.
Kia ora from New Zealand. Kia ora, talofa, malulele. I'm just going around the Pacific here.
And we can see, we've got quite a few people in the broadcast already. For some of you, it will be very, very early in the morning if you're in America, particularly if you're on the Pacific East Coast. I think it's 2 a.m. So if you're with us, I hope you're here with your coffee because you're in for a treat. We are going to cover a lot of stuff today.
Yes.
So before we get started, I just want to say again, thank you to Lena for joining in. We've got so much to discuss. I've got a little bit of news for people as well, a little bit of a news flash. So soon, my membership button will soon be up.
I'll get you.
What's that? I know. But many people have been asking me to teach Vedic astrology. And that's where I'll be doing it. So it'll be videos directly for people, members, and we'll be doing stuff like this, real deep dives into nitty-gritty where you guys get to select charts and we just basically go in and I called it warts and all. So I just
fantastic.
So watch out for that button. I think I'm going through the approval process right now. Videos are up there, Sun, and also the introduction to Vedic astrology, so you can get to know the ancient stuff. Plug aside, we are here with Lena, and we're gonna get stuck in, guys, because there is a lot to discuss. We're going
this week, there's just been so much volatility all over this week. It was hard to know what to just concentrate on in terms of your questions.
Exactly.
Because there's so much. Yeah.
There's so much going on. And what we'll do later on, we'll cover the topics and then I'll blend in a little bit of astrology as well, because today, just so you know, here we go. I'm moving that, because it's all opposite here. Here we are. Where's the wand? One moment.
Oh, you've got to have the wand.
So there is a really important aspect that we need to look at, which is actually perfected today, Lena. And what we have here, we have Venus, planet of love, peace, marriage, collaboration, wine, beauty, all of that stuff is exactly conjunct Mars, planet of war, conflict, violence, and aggression. They are exact today. So as we're doing this reading, they're right on top of each other. The positive manifestation of that, of course, is passion and desire. So lots of people are going to be kind of having fun. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, dressing up.
Indeed. But the downside of that, of course, is conflict in relationships and partnerships and warlike situations. So let's start with the Cuba riots.
Yes, riots in Cuba. Let's dive in here.
Do you know because you're so good when it comes to the international details on things, is there anything else you can furnish the viewers right now with extra information of what's going on in regards to Cuba?
Okay, well, let's do the potted history, which is upfront declaration from a lefty perspective. So until 1959 in Cuba, it was basically a casino for the West, primarily America and so forth. Literacy was very poor. An immense percentage of Cuban women were involved in prostitution just to feed their families, and people were struggling in every way. So with the revolution, which was, Castro and Che Guevara and others, again, I'm stressing from a lefty point of view, they took over a lot of properties and introduced education and healthcare, and now their doctors go around the world, and amazing. But if you were someone who did own property and businesses and stuff, you were shunted out during the revolution.
Right.
Many of those went, who lost property, went to Miami, which is why you have a huge right-wing Cuban voting bloc in Miami. Whereas for the majority of people, they actually got for the first time health and education and subsidized housing. But like then came the embargoes from the West, so Cuba couldn't prosper. So it's been starved into submission, but has survived until now. Whereas it could have been a booming economy and Cubans from other places could have gone back. It should have opened up under Obama. So there's an ongoing tension. You're on one side or the other of this conversation. But now you've got the young people in the streets because they've had enough.
And there's no food, apparently. Apparently there's food queues, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, this is 40, 50 years of embargoes. You know, all right, let's have a look at poor Cuba, which has all the potential in the world, but a difficult history. Okay, yeah, the young people have had enough. It was exactly as I just said. Yeah. The children, very young population. Okay, like many developing countries, it's the opposite of wealthier Anglo countries that are getting older, the bigger population getting older. Any third world country like South Africa, which we'll get to tonight, or anywhere else, it's the complete opposite bell curve. So you've got many more younger people. And so there's millions more under 15-year-olds in developing countries.
Right, I see.
Than in the West. And that sort of turns out here. Can I go with these?
Absolutely. Go for it. You're my guest.
Page of Cups, Page of Swords. These are the young things, right? So you see the Page of Swords there with the sword raised, ready for action. The Page of Cups is more emotional and probably ideologically driven, but the combination, it's emotional and it's also about justice. It's both those things. They're sick of it, not just the young people. People are sick of it and do want to open up. And so this is it's symbolic of something much bigger to come. They're not going to go back in the box now, I don't think, with this.
Yeah.
They might change tactics, but it's going to go ahead. It's not entirely clear who's running it, who's going to benefit from it, where it's coming from. It's not that obvious with the moon card, but two big major arcanas here. So we've got these two powerhouses side by side. So with the Judgment card, this one, that's our karmic collective in any country. I always feel it's about the collective, not the individual.
Right.
And so that's saying you are being called. If you want to change your country for the better now, this is actually taking part and doing it. That's my advice to anyone under 40. But also the lovely Temperance card. So that bodes well down the track for a peaceful resolution eventually.
Yes. Wow. I mean, I've got very interesting cards as well. And just to give a quick little shout out to everyone. So we've got Saturn, Cartomancy Mesquite. I think that is. A lot of people saying hello. Satire Tarot Energy Channel, Jane Finley English, Joyce Clark. Thank you so much for everyone. Of course, most of you will catch this when you actually wake up in the morning.
Yes, exactly.
About 5 a.m. USA time. So similar cards. You know, I've got similar. So first of all here, look at that. Tower.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It has to change. It has to change,
doesn't it? I mean, if we think, you know, I don't have as much of a detailed understanding, but of course I know that Cuba has been communist for a long time. And there has just been this ongoing tug of war and essentially this starvation, this kind of time capsule. And I think time capsules and being like a kind of a preserved kind of box back in the circa 1950s with the old cards and stuff like that. That works when you don't have social media. Now everyone's got smartphones and all that kind of stuff, internet, and they can see what's going on in the rest of the world. And that facade, that illusion that's been cast is now pretty much destroyed.
Yes.
We see that there. But what is the obstacle? Poverty. Yeah. Look at that. It is people literally queuing up for food. They don't have enough to eat. The C virus has, of course, just compounded those things, as it's done with all inequalities in other parts of the world. And it's just made the situation worse. And then what do we have? We have the sword, the King of Swords, reversed. When it's the right way up, we know that this is a sane, rational, intelligent man with good judgment who's likely to be fair, maybe not necessarily cuddly, but, you can expect to be treated, reasonably. When it's reversed, we're dealing with a cruel, vindictive man who's spiteful and maybe even a little bit vicious. And this, I think, is in reference to the new leader that they have. Have you seen? He's got white hair. I don't know if you've seen it. He's half Cuban, half American. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Anyway, but there is a new interim person who actually looks quite a lot like the King of Swords. So we're not dealing with someone who's particularly nice. Then when we see here the fourth card, it's the youth. Just like you said, Lena, here we are. The youth, we know that the pages, they're all about messages, but we can see here the young page. This is the one that is the more articulate of the four of the page cards, and this is about inspiration, new ideas, trying new things, exploring education. So this is very much the youth that you were talking about. And the outcome card,
it's rather not bad.
Good. It's rather good. So there is a maybe they will succeed. And this could ultimately lead to positive changes in Cuba.
I really hope so. Probably not,
not immediately,
in a matter of months, but over a few years, it could well do.
Could well get better. And like you said, where they sit geographically, I mean, the potential of Cuba is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. All right, so in the spirit of global astrology, we now move to Haiti. Haiti. Oh my goodness, Lena. I mean, how do you feel about what's going on in Haiti? I mean, wow.
I know, and it too, you can't divorce anywhere or anything from its history. And Haiti had the first major successful slave rebellion under Poisson Louverture. And the French responded by hammering Haiti and pulling out and leaving it to implode. And then you had a series of French playthings, Baby Doc Duvalier and these Haitian oligarchs. And again, no money for the people. When it wouldn't even cost a lot to run these tiny countries, you could still be a bit corrupt, put the hospitals and schools in and run away with 500,000, No, they always take everything.
Every last drop. And thank you, Christopher, for the donation. Thank you so much. My goodness. So,
yes, Haiti. So it's having to deal with an assassination, but also it's had terrible weather events.
Oh, God.
And people struggle on.
Oh, my goodness.
Haiti. What's happening for Haiti? Where are we? I think from now till the end of the year I'll do.
Yeah. I mean, what's emerging on the news is this kind of Florida sort of connection. We're hearing word of Colombian mercenaries, and it's just very interesting what's going on there right now. Let's see.
Oh wow, yeah.
Right, Lena, what do you have for us? Do you have some crackers? Oh,
yes, starting like yours did for Cuba, Haiti. I think they're in the middle of their tower now. Yeah. This has been brewing and brewing and brewing, right? The gangs have been allowed to run amok for too long. And again, we're talking about tiny numbers, so if all the levels of bureaucracy weren't corrupt, Haiti could have a healthy little economy too, but they all, it's always the way. Yeah. So it's dealing with its tower. At this point, I would say there's no clarity out and about who would be the best person or what is the way forward. This is the circular argument of the Five of Wands. No one winning at the moment at all. It's not clear. Your average Haitian feels like they're held hostage, and they are, to the corruption, and just getting by. These are heavy cards. Just getting by. Two more to finish, though. Two kings. I think it'll come in the wash. It'll come down to two men.
Right.
And I think one will be the representative of money, wealth, and privilege. And one will be for the people.
For the people and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so I think there'll be tension eventually between those two, and it'll come down to one of them. We'll have to keep our eye on Haiti.
Right. Wow. My goodness. So before I start my little thing, a few more shout outs as the numbers increase.
It's great seeing all you guys there.
Brilliant. I mean, doing so well. Good morning from Florida. People saying we love this duo. So that's Christopher Guala, Bronx Sage.
And Gadana says, I don't believe those people are the real assassins. I agree with that. I don't think it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. So when looking at Haiti, what's the first card I get? You'll recognize this straight off. Look at that.
All right.
About the money. Yeah, this was paid for. Paid mercenaries went in. I think when I did a pull on Haiti on another channel, I got the Queen of Pentacles,
there you go.
Kind of as the obstacle. So really, there is big money behind this. And basically, if they follow the money trail, then that is actually going to reveal a lot. What is the obstacle? Look, we have the Page of Wands making another entrance. So again, this is about the youth. This is about the passion, the desire for the Haitian people to actually, they're starting to ask questions.
Yes.
They're really starting to ask some difficult and probing questions. But what is it going to require? They're going to require strength. Quite literally, the people are going to require strength. They are being tested right now. And what is at stake? If we look here again, the card comes back, doesn't it? You saw
it's the same story, isn't it?
Same story. So we see here, just like with Cuba, the Haitian people are battling poverty, but this is a kind of a poverty that is been induced from outside of the country.
Yes, that's right.
These are sort of moneyed individuals, shall we say, the interests here, kind of almost echoing your King of Pentacles card, is effectively affecting the lifestyles of the people. But as the outcome card, this is rather positive.
Oh, lovely.
Temperance. So again, there's this thing of, we have this upheaval now, and hopefully maybe it probably will take a few years, things coming to balance in the future. Because again, Haiti is a island nation that grossly underperforms, but not through lack of passion of the
talent.
Talent. They've just been in this sort of lobster pot for decades and decades.
Yes. There was just a comment there. Haiti used to be a destination for tourism and cruise liners and all of that, and could be gorgeous. And so instead, the loggers went in, made huge amounts of money, and created the mudslides that then destroyed the villages. It's like everywhere. I think everywhere's looking at the end game of capitalism, as I see it, capitalism's been allowed to just run amok, and self-regulated industries, we know, don't regulate. That's why you have condominiums falling down in Miami, and that's why you had the Grenfell Towers, etc. It's the same story, except in these cases, whole countries.
Absolutely. And thanks so much to Eddie as well, who's just given us a little sticker there. I'll just give you a little click up. Thank you so much, Eddie. So basically, before we continue on let's see. Let's talk about Afghanistan next. But just to give a little kind of insight astrologically, what's going on.
Yes, please.
It's all about Pluto. This is the USA chart, but the USA chart is having the Pluto returns. But what is Pluto all about? Pluto is about the dark night of the soul, the underworld. Pluto is about sex trafficking, slavery, bondage, corruption, dark money, all of that stuff. The higher energies of Pluto are transformation. When we embrace these things and we lean into it, Pluto can give us superpowers. But he has recently entered sidereal Capricorn, and Capricorn is all about governments. Yeah, it's ruled by accountability. So what's happening is, I always say, Pluto is like your neighbor's cat that jumps onto your bed and drops a maggoty rat on your bed.
I love that image.
Yeah? Literally seething with and you're just like, ooh,
spews it up.
Exactly.
Under your pillow.
Exactly. So what we're seeing around the world, issues with governments. We've just had an assassination in Haiti. We've got rioting. We've got all sorts going on. So there is that aspect there. So we are looking at Afghanistan now. And so that was put in by Shanlin Skinner. I hope I've said your name correct. So what's the future of Afghanistan? She was asking about the future of women as well, young girls, and will the dark forces take over? That's the question.
Yeah, poor Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
I remember some years ago seeing an Afghan woman interviewed, and she said, the Taliban burnt down my children's school and the Americans bombed my house.
Oh.
Who am I supposed to support?
Yeah, exactly. It's just this horrible, this two cards have come out.
It's now they've been abandoned.
This plutonic dark.
Yes.
Energy.
But because the world has been so out of whack and out of balance and unjust and all that, and we've all cruised around the edges, just making little lives and trying to get on with it. But it has to happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen.
This is the purge. This really is the purge. This is where we're getting to.
Oh, sorry, one moment. We've got trolls because we need to appoint a moderator.
Oh, right. Okay.
Anyone volunteer to be a moderator, please?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Anyone who'd like to moderate? How do I add moderator? Where are our trolls? We'll deal with the trolls later. There's douchebags.
Yeah, they'll come and go. Hopefully, they're bored with international politics.
Oh yeah,
they have very small minds.
Yeah, indeedy. Right. And we do have some American questions as well. Lena, what do you have for us in regards to Afghanistan?
Well, here we go with Afghanistan. Well, it's early days with Afghanistan for the new era. And I don't think the new era is going to be very good for the short term.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is, this goes back to at least the 70s when Russia was in Afghanistan, and that's why America got interested because Russia was there, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm seeing here, I've got these knights carrying on. Okay, so looking at these. This is a bit out of control. I would say this could be, oh God, I can't work out this camera. There we go. There we go. Knight of Swords, I would say, is the Taliban. Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady. That's money behind the scenes, the mercenaries that will be employed by various powers. Now, we know the US is pulling out fairly dramatically, fairly suddenly, given it's a 22-year thing. But conventional armies everywhere are being replaced by these mercenaries, including Eric Prince, someone mentioned in the comments too. Now, that's Betsy DeVos's brother, Eric Prince. He ran Blackwater. They are nasty guys. They do renditions. They do torture for hire, right?
Oh, my God.
They are seriously ugly individuals. So they'll be brought in to try and be a bulwark for the Taliban and everything that represents, which is not good if you're an Afghani on the ground. So if you are from Afghanistan yourself and a normal person, none of those options look good. None of those cups are good. And here's the rip-off card. So as a country, it'll continue to be ripped off by those who can benefit. So nothing fabulous short term. I think, in fact, it's going to deteriorate for a while. Then we'll have to keep our eye on that, because I believe everything's going through their own upheavals for a reason.
Wow. My goodness, lots going on there. So a few more shout outs to everyone. So we've got Darlene Garrity. So good morning from northern Arizona, almost 2:30 a.m. Couldn't sleep. So here with us. You know, you're certainly not going to be able to sleep after this, because this is a rip-roaring show so far, but thank you for joining us. And
3:30 in New Mexico. Hi, Nancy.
Oh, indeed. But thank you so much for joining us here today. And I'm going to respond to Afghanistan. And then we do have a question from Laura Iverson about the CDC. So we could look at the CDC after this. But what cards did I get for Afghanistan? Well, look at that. Yeah. Burden. Yeah. Tremendous burden. I mean, look, even if it was this way, you know, that card is
but it's in.
When we look here, so really there is this feeling of it has been Afghanistan has just been a one long piece of work, hasn't it? If we just think about it, it's this, the 10 of Wands is about a heavy burden, something intractable, but being carried inefficiently. When it's reversed, it's almost wanting to just completely drop that burden altogether.
Its bundle,
literally drop it all together. So I would imagine that the Afghan people are feeling like this. And also as well, I would say to an extent, the USA administration, because it's not really turned out rosy, has it? Also as well, one thing I worry about seeing this card here is that, will America do the right thing by the Afghan translators? Bring them home.
The record isn't marvellous for supporting translators after the event, but hopefully people need to campaign for that.
Absolutely, because we don't want to see these people dropped, as if they're a burden. America just dropping, everything. So, and when we see what is the obstacle, we have the Wheel of Fortune, but is reversed.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah, when it's the right way up, you know, the devil's on the bottom, and we can assume that that maybe there is some luck there. But when the devil here when the little demon here is on is on the top, then it suggests that that's not so auspicious. So when we look at this, someone is dropping a burden, United States, and for the obstacle that for Afghanistan is that the luck is really not looking good. And then when we see here, we have the Three of Swords, So of course, heartache. Now, on one level, when the card is reversed, we could be saying that there is an emotional healing, some kind of recovery, but we really know this is not likely to be the case, especially in the context of these two cards here. So really, we can just say that is just more of the same. And disappointment.
And for Afghanistan, it's because of where it is geographically. It was always the crossroads back in the day of the Silk Road for everywhere. They were traders. They got on with everybody, the Afghans, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's remarkable. And then when we see here, what else is going on? We've got the moon reverse. I mean, this is a card that basically never improves. Bless it. I mean, whenever it shows up, you know, it's not good. So if the moon's here the right way up, secrets, you know, things coming out of the dark, things not being seen clearly. We even have a lobster coming out of the water, but it's reversed. So this can actually refer to mental illness, anxiety, not feeling good. Obviously, the Afghan people are not going to be feeling great because they're having to deal with what? The Taliban. And what are the circumstances behind that? Here we are, 5 of Wands reversed. So, of course.
And as for the question, too, about the women, right, things have gone backwards, just as they have since we in the West, because Australia went into the Gulf Wars and all of that, too.
Oh, right.
And we might not have liked Saddam, and you certainly wouldn't have wanted to go up against him as an insider, but women could go to university and were teachers and lawyers and doctors and had lives prior to all that. And for Afghan women, it's gone backwards. It's gone backwards for them in the last 25 years.
Yeah, it really has. And someone was just paying me a compliment because I said the score between Italy and England would be 3-2. I said it was 3-2 in the end, but of course it was the Italians that won. So sorry.
Yes, that's right.
Little side note on that, but that's what I saw. I saw 3-2.
3-2.
It was in penalty.
And your heart just leapt to making it that way round.
I mean, the thing is, you know, I know this is a slight digression, folks, but basically I cannot watch the England matches because I think they should come with a health warning because they take weeks off my life.
I know.
It's always penalties. It's always, you know, absolute high wire. Then it all gets nasty and ugly. And, you know, you've got, you know, footballers who are traumatized, you know, for the rest of their career.
And then you have the famous 0-0 draw in soccer. What is that? And I'm in a rugby house with New Zealanders as we speak. And the rugby's about to start, which is, I think, Australia versus France. So you could hear some background noise depending what happens here.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that's going to be absolutely massive. Who are you supporting? Who are you supporting? I've just split the deck and I've got this card. So someone's going to be happy, obviously.
Well, yes. No, I'll support Australia against France because of what they do with nuclear power. But against New Zealand, no. I'll support Australia against England any day of the week. Well, but not against South Africa. And so it goes on, the sliding scale of support, you know, who you support.
You are such a nuanced woman, Lena, honestly. Nuanced, she's full
of complicated.
She knows sport and this, that, and the other. What do you levitate in the mornings as well?
Before breakfast. Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look. So let's answer Laura Iverson's question. So a USA question, and she's asking, what is going on with the CDC and the director of the CDC? And she's asking, are they acting out of political interest? Can you fill me in on this one? What has the CDC said recently that would imply some kind of...
I don't know who the CDC is.
Oh, the CDC, it's the, if I remember correctly, now you can scribble in, guys, write in if I'm wrong, but the CDC, I think they're like the governing body for like vaccines and stuff like that.
I see. We all have different letters.
They're like the official people that are representing the medical situation in America.
I get it.
If I'm wrong, please let me know.
So it's a public health authority thing.
Essentially, yeah. If I remember correctly, let's just
Thank you, Centre for Disease Control. Got it. Thank you. We have such smart viewers. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yes, so they oversee whether vaccines are safe or not, and these and what sort of measures to take. Exactly. And Fauci was very high up, obviously, in the American version. Okay, so what was that question? Sorry.
The question is, so are they acting out of political interest? So clearly, because she was asking, are they acting out of political interest rather than saving lives? So I think there's been an announcement recently about boosters, and then it was withdrawn, and what's going on with that? Pfizer said something, then walked something back. I mean, we can just do a general poll.
Yeah, we'll just do a general thing on the CDC and see if anything comes up.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're terrible.
CDC.
What's happening? Political control of the CDC.
Indeed. CDC. Let's see. What do you have for us, dear Lena?
I was thinking, oh no, they're sort of neutral bodies, you know, that regardless of who's in power and stuff, but see what happens. But some ugly cards have turned up, and what flashed into my head was this is becoming an issue. They weren't traditionally, owned by a political party, but there's too much dirty money to ignore in this. We have the devil and the King of Pentacles, right? So both those are there. And I think this is part of what's happening to them is there's a movement to control them.
Yeah.
Because they are so powerful. Now, when you've had a global pandemic for a year and a half and it's not over, we're lucky if we're through the halfway mark. They are hugely powerful. So I think they're trying to buy off individuals and buying off the young ones as they're coming through, the apprentices trying to do this. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it's active like in every country, but I'm just saying they've confronted with this money trying to buy them off. And the Queen of Pentacles. So will they hold out? So this is a good queen here, I think.
Holding on to that coin, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going, well, maybe not. You can buy most things in this world, but you can't buy us. I hope. What did you get, Hogarth?
Very, very interesting stuff. Not stuff I was quite expecting to be honest. And thank you as well for everyone as well, people getting stuck in and leaving their comments. Just a little read. We've got Dina Donatelli. Oh, I remember that name. Gina M. We have got what's this here? Eve.
It's always the money. Oh, they work with dangerous biological stuff. That's absolutely true. But I just had a flash then. Suddenly, we all know Big Pharma is corrupt and price gouges and charges everybody, hundreds of times more than something costs. We know that. They've been a bit of a bulwark against that. But if you're a heartless entrepreneur who wants to make money, you want someone in the CDC to recommend your drug. So whereas before they had to go through, well, they still presumably, hopefully, have to go through real scientists and peer-reviewed processes, research itself has been bought out over the last 20 or 30 years. This is a really sinister development everywhere. Yeah. So they pay for research centres and, then you're paying for the results that you want.
It's just everywhere, isn't it? The whole
world.
So
tell us about what's that astrologically?
So basically, the reason why is everything so tumultuous right now? Now, like I say to everyone, obviously I'm a Vedic astrologer, and which is the Vedic astrology is very different. That's why I want to be teaching about it, but it's much more accurate and it's very concrete. Western astrology still works, for all you Western astrologers out there. Don't worry, you don't have to go and burn your books and make a bonfire of everything. But the difference is that sidereal astrology, it follows the stars. It's just like NASA, When NASA says the sun is in this position on that constellation, it's the same in Vedic astrology. Why is everything happening now? Now, in the West, they are effectively 24 degrees ahead of the true placements. So for Western astrologers, transiting Saturn is in Aquarius. Yeah, it is not. It is in Capricorn. Capricorn is about governments. Yeah, remember, governments, infrastructure, every kind of thing to do with global organizations, etc. That's all Saturn. So Saturn is in Capricorn. So there we are. There's a big emphasis there. He's in his own sign. Governments are trying to increase what? Their power. But the most important thing is that Pluto moved into sidereal Capricorn on the 1st of January 2021, this year. And it also moved in with the energy of the flying gripe, yeah, which is like an eagle. Yeah, it's called the flying gripe. Yeah, there was a star just around here. But it was in the tail end of the flying gripe. And what comes out of the tail end of a bird? Yeah, quite a bit of caca, shall we say. So Pluto flew in with the energy of an eagle of war doing a big poop. Yeah. What happened on the 6th of January, a mere 5 days later, we had the insurrection. So Pluto is announcing the tumultuous times of revelations, dark night of the soul, things being dredged up from the deep about all governments around the world.
Yes,
we're doing it. And this is why I want to teach Vedic astrology. So, of course, remember, when my join button comes up, you get stuck in, and I'll be able to teach you all this stuff, why it's happening as it is, because things have really gone up a notch.
Yes.
January 21. We're like, what's going on? And that's because the sidereal astrology is showing what's happening here. In Western astrology, they've got Pluto up here about to leave Capricorn. No, it's just entered. The purge has begun. So there we are. There's that little bit.
Before we move on, and already we've been going 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah.
A viewer asked about the Texas lawmakers, and we have to have a quick look. For those of you who might have missed this, Texas is trying to pass all these repressive voter suppression laws, right? Mm-hmm. And the Dems last week refused to go to the session, so there wouldn't be enough people to vote. Mm-hmm. And then they were called back, but they all got on planes and left today. And so they flew to DC to hide out, to refuse to be there for part of this vote. So this is an amazing action by lawmakers.
Wow.
They've walked out and flown out of Texas so as to not be part of this historically bad vote. So let's have a look at the Dems who have flown from Washington.
Indeed. And but just before the Dems, I'll do a quick flash on what I pulled for the CDC. Sorry, I distracted everyone. So a little recap on the CDC. So what did I get? Here we are. I got the Knight of Cups. Yeah. And the Knight of Cups, as we know, can be a romantic offer. Normally, it basically is an offer. He's coming forward with an offer. Here, it is insincere. Yeah. So there's something insincere going on at the CDC. Echoing what you said, Lena, about youth, about the next ones coming up, it seems like they are basically trying to, charm them into something more like that they would want to have, rather than being objective. So there's a bit of a contamination here.
Yes.
Yeah. There's betrayal, backstabbing, all that stuff. So there is an agenda going on here. And this suggests that this could be a betrayal of the American people, because there are slippery characters.
Yes. And that's what I got too. Yeah.
Absolutely. If we look here, here's old Biden. Biden. But recently, Biden's been turning upside down in my reading.
Oh, dear.
It's like, Biden, dude, you need to wake up. Yeah.
Yes.
The situation.
Hi, Bruno.
Pressing. And I'm not saying he's asleep at the wheel, but it's like, come on, I want to put a firecracker down this guy's trousers. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of wake him up. Because look, this is what is secretly going on at the CDC. Someone's trying to get away with things. There's skullduggery there. I think what this is, I call this, refer to this as flooding from the basement. Yeah. It doesn't come from a river. It percolates up through the floorboards. And as we know, we've got 2 water cards here. So there's emotion here, but there's also as well, they were both reversed. So that can mean manipulation. So all is not well at CDC. So yes, sorry there. So what we were going to just look at, I've just forgotten what you said.
Oh, that's all right. Sorry, I jumped over you. Texas, the Dems who have left Texas to expose the GOP being on their own for this vote to crush people's votes.
Wow.
Sorry about the troll, everybody. Olive oil. Oh, it's a bit of a tragedy. Okay, so let's move on and find out what's happening with the Dems. Just to try and ignore the troll.
Yeah, just ignore, because we're in the flow here anyway. So
it's just attention-seeking nonsense. Let's have a look at Texas. Texas. I mean, oh my God, the stuff going on there. I mean, it's just bonkers, isn't it? But this is what happens when Pluto goes into the sign of Capricorn, which is government. Pluto is like a hand grenade, yeah? And we can see with the timing. So again, and it's like an earthquake. It comes from the bottom up, just whoosh. Oh, my word.
Power. Pluto's all about power. Pluto's all about control, manipulation. When it was discovered in the 1930s, or it's discovered in 1930, look what was going on at that time. We had mafia bosses, fascism, the far right,
and it was the beginning of what became Nazism. It was purring away then in its rotten little cells then.
Indeed.
And that's what we're seeing, this jingoistic nationalism everywhere, and it's a really low bar. Look, I'm excited by these cards for the Dems.
Okay.
And it leads off here with the Tower for the Texas GOP, as I see it. I think it's even bigger than that. It's like, I think Texas, like Florida, they're symbolic of certain things. Texas holds the symbolism in America of being the Lone Star State, and
out with the wagon.
Real men don't eat quiche. So, I think all of that's about to go under forever, and we're all having to deal with the last flings of the ugliness of patriarchy in all its forms. But that thinking, that jingoistic thinking, whereas most Texans, because they live on the border, and they live in what should be Mexico, let's be honest, apart from that little exercise, it should be Mexico. They understand that there needs to be economic to and fro, both legal and illegal, over the border. That's part of the economy of Texas and all of that. But the demographics changing. So I think this is huge. This card is huge in relation to the question about the Dems. It's a strategy, yes. That they've come up with this strategy, which is theatrical, right? I like that. It's different. It captures your imagination.
Absolutely.
Right. And right is on their side, with this for the judgment, and the sun shining on their little heads.
Illuminating everything.
So it goes from the tower to the sun. And I think this is the beginning of the real tower for Texas, which is going to be over 4 years, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
Well, yeah, I certainly hope so too. I mean, I've got quite interesting cards as well in terms of the context of what is going on and stuff like that. And my first card I get is the Hierophant. Yeah, so here we are. This
yes.
Government. It's so interesting, isn't it? How the cards just immediately go straight there.
Yeah.
It's all about government, what's going on, the whole situation. The Hierophant is always about, laws, regulations, tradition, the arms of government. So it couldn't be more accurate, more pertinent. But what is the obstacle? If we look here, look, the Two of Cups reversed. The shadow dealing, the horse trading, the manipulations going behind the scenes, the alliances. So basically the Democrats have kind of taken, quite rightly, they've taken the high road, and they're like, we're not going to be part of this evil union. Yeah, we're not going to be part of this evil union. And someone was just mentioning, I put up her comment on the screen about, not the Department of Justice, but, the senior lawyers basically kind of backing up the whole kind of BS in Arizona and stuff like that. And it's one of the things that I mentioned in the USA chart. I said Biden's going to have to watch out for the enemy within. And I mentioned it's all going to be about the legal profession and judges because of all of the aspects at the moment on sidereal Libra. Yeah, that's legal stuff. So here, hopefully, if the Dems are effective, either way, well, I mean, look, if we just take it literally, they've moving for smoother waters. They've literally jumped on planes and got out of there, haven't they?
Yes.
So I mean, you can literally take it as is. This is the Dems. We're not going to be part of this. Let me just turn my lighting down. Actually, I think my lighting's a bit too bright. There we go. So they're like, we're not having any of this. We are getting out of here. If you're going to create this sin, we're going to leave you to it. So you're covered in the muck. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but look, something
goody
happens. Now, this could be how the Republicans feel in terms of they're feeling like, yes, we're getting our way. But I don't think it's going to pan out like that. I think what's going to happen is people are just going to see exactly what is going on because the Dems have moved out. They cannot be blamed, for anything that's come. And this could be the Texans, maybe even literally taking up a club and really kind of getting real on certain things because everyone wants to prosper. And if we look at the outcome card here we have the Queen of Wands, entrepreneurial woman. Yeah? There are going to be a lot of
getting things done. The Queen of Wands gets things done.
Exactly, getting things done. And also as well, there are a lot of people that are going to be looking at their businesses and they're going to be looking at their bottom lines and they're going to be looking at the impact of all of this, let alone of the reputation on Texas. And also as well, what I love with the Queen of Wands, we see her familiar here, the black cat. So this is also a person who's got intuition and intelligence. So I would hope, if we think in terms of the Democrats, they are basically playing an intelligent game here because they're basically saying we may not necessarily be able to stop this, but we're not going to be associated with it. And we're going to allow the intelligence of people just to work it out for themselves what's going on.
Well, I tell you what will focus their attention when the power keeps failing on their filthy fossil fuel grids and everything's tied with work. With gas and oil and all of that in the Gulf of Mexico and all of the implications for that. And so people instinctively support where the jobs are. But when it affects them that they can't actually run their own lives, they start to rethink. And I think I agree with Whimsy on this. I think go 5 or 10 years out, I think Texas will have a green economy, as will a lot of the southern redneck states. Yeah. Please don't write to me about redneck. I'm using the term liberally. I come from a redneck state.
I'm not even going to get stuck in on that. I'll leave that one to be fought out.
But I think the economies will change in those places that have been dependent on these filthy fuel industries for years, and it's going to shift around. Green jobs. It'll stop people complaining. Green jobs.
Well,
okay. So we've only got 6 minutes left.
Oh, it's true. We do only. Okay, look, we've only got 6 minutes left. Let's do a little bit. Let's do a little bit of flim flam. And someone has asked about Ivana Trump. Someone called CL, just 2 letters. Ivana Trump. How is she feeling about Duck? Well, I say Duck Larange. You call him the Yeti, and her children. So let's do a quick read.
Well, we're talking the Mother of Dragons here.
Mother of Dragons,
as I have christened her.
It so fits. Mother of Dragons, definitely. I mean, my goodness. I mean.
And hello, Sweden. We've had a Swedish viewer. Love getting other countries. Okay. So, Ivana, the other thing we can't leave, I'm scandalized. This morning on my news feed, Meghan and Harry are being given an environmental award for choosing to only have 2 children. Now, I'm sorry. This is why I refuse to read on the royals. I mean, if you're Richard Attenborough or you're Greta Thunberg, but please, Meghan and Harry for having 2 kids.
I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry, that is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, that is a bit ridiculous. Now,
hopefully,
of course,
it's not even their fault. They were probably just as surprised as everyone else.
Yeah, they're probably like, bloody hell. But especially as well, you can imagine when you got a Brit and an Aussie on the same channel, the royalty can be a thorny subject. Let's just put it that way.
Wow. Yes. Well, actually, we should do one absolute episode dedicated to royals around the world and go for it.
Indeed. So what did you get for the Mother of Dragons?
No, I haven't yet. I just saw Marie saying giving dragons a bad name. I do apologize. I know, but somehow it's just sort of stuck. It fell out of my mouth a few years ago, and here we go. I never get reversals, like ever, and I just got the King of Swords reversed.
How interesting.
And particularly with her, because Ivana, one of Trump's 2 immigrant wives, and yet let's not have any immigration. This was her in her heyday. This is in the past. And she was a glamour puss. She was like Zsa Zsa Gabor. And, now you can't get past her lips because they're so but she was a very good-looking woman before she had the work done. So that was her in her heyday. But what's happened is this is the justice coming for her entire family, no matter which way you look at it.
Which way, yeah.
But I would say this is not coming down in a very nice way for someone who rarely gets a reversal because she has bred these hideous, absolutely callous, shallow, mercenary, vacuous children.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of work to make them as shallow and awful as they are. So she has to take her credit along with their delicious father. So she's partly responsible for this. But this is her hanging on to the money for them. So they've got, maybe she'll buy them a mobile home each and they can take it highways of America. I
think Ivanka will still be able to buy good shoes, but as for the other siblings,
yeah, that's right. But she's doing money stuff to try and protect some money for them, because of course, if they go broke, they're rich broke, not poor broke.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you get, Hum?
Right. So what I got now, very interesting. I got the Justice.
Upside down. So a King of Swords upside down.
Justice. So the same energy. So again, but when we're talking about these people, we just know that this is pear-shaped stuff. Yeah, pear-shaped stuff. But it also shows the Mother of Dragons is working very hard behind the scenes,
Yes.
Obviously there's no more eggs left to hatch, but she's just protecting, the spawn that she has. So I would say there is a lot of background stuff going on with lawyers, the law, trying to get ducks in a row, so to speak, in terms of with this hammer of Thor that is gonna soon to be.
That's right.
Yeah. And if we look here, it's all batshit. in the family.
Can you imagine the little family gatherings that they're having at the moment? You've got Don Jr., who's one step away from a padded cell, and they're all arguing with each other, and you've got Jared stuck in the closet in, Ivanka's 90s, and you've got Eric wondering who he's married to because she's, running for president of somewhere.
I mean, you can just imagine. The Zoom and the WhatsApp calls must just be a combination of comedy and tragedy and would just be worthy of a series in themselves. So there is a lot of infighting, turmoil, ups and downs to what to do about this.
Yes.
And they know that they're running out of time. Everything is speeding up. Yeah, everything is speeding up. And basically, as we know, Melania's had her Louis Vuittons packed for a long time. And I'm sure literally as we speak, Ivanka is stuffing shoes into boxes, right now. But look, we get here. What are they working for? Yeah. So in the context of Ivana, she is going to win something in some form. Yeah.
Yes. Do not underestimate.
Do not underestimate the mother of dragons. Yeah. Because she is seasoned. We need to remember she was the first wife, wasn't she? Ivana was the first wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Part of the first wife club. This lady knows how to win, and she has a lot of what? Strength. Yeah, a lot.
She's old school. Because she'd be in her 70s now, I guess, and grew up, during the Cold War and everything else. Nothing gets past her.
Yeah, so we're dealing with here a hardcore character. Ivana is someone who is seasoned in battle. Yeah, she was the original mercenary of Donald Trump. And if anything, they actually said if he'd left the casinos to her, they would have actually made money. Yeah, they would have made money.
Well, I'm not convinced of that. I think they both worked very hard at running 3 casinos into the ground, right? They were both told differently because she went berserk on the furnishings. You can imagine the gold, everything and stuff. And various lenders to these projects said overkill, overcapitalizing in these buildings. This is where all your profits going into the next gold staircase, gold, blue, gold, everything. So I think they were equally responsible for the failure of 3 casinos simultaneously. I think it's a record.
Well, that's true, but we do know that there is a brain that's working in there.
Oh, absolutely. And tenacious. She's there till the end. They're her kids.
So that we're dealing with someone who is looking at what she can do, because remember it was reversed, what she can do behind the scenes in regards to the law, lawyers, etc., and stuff like that. They are fighting hook, tooth, and nail with each other about the situation that is fast approaching them. But we cannot underestimate Ivana. We won't see her in the headlines so much, but she is she sees herself as a leader. She sees herself as a leader, someone that is competent. But as you say, Lena, she's old school. This is kind of that old school, like you said, Soviet Union in the trenches resistance. She's faced everything. Yeah.
This isn't Kardashian sort of mentality about megabucks or anything. It's a very different mindset.
So much,
that she's got. And also the leadership could be, they know none of them would want to spend an hour with the Yeti, obviously, with Duck L'Orange, because he's mad as a meat axe. So she's probably more in their lives now than she's been for 30 years.
Yeah. And what this also shows as well is that the children see her as a source of strength. Yeah. If there's anyone that's holding the fort in the background, it's her. Because, of course, that is Loopy Loo. So, Lena, the time has escaped us. Look at that. We've just ripped through that. That is an hour already. I want to say to everyone, thank you so much for being here. It's not an easy time of the morning for you guys, for wherever you are, really. And but you're here with us today, so I want to say a real thank you for that. And of course, a thank you again to Lena. Love collabing with you. It's so much fun, and we need to do this again at some point.
Absolutely, we do. And next time we'll have a moderator.
Yes, we'll have a moderator just in case we get any trolley action.
Yeah. So you take care, guys, and thanks for tuning in at these ugly hours. Really appreciate it.
But it's the international life, isn't it, Lena? What can we do? We're global. We're global.
We're global. We're global thinkers.
All right, everyone. So thanks so